Hey guys, welcome back. And today we're going to finally be pulling the engine and transmission out. I got this crash bar from up front taken off, and if you actually see, I did this side first and I was dumb and I drilled out the spot welds that were on the inside of the crash bar. So if you see this one has the plate on it, this one doesn't. That's because this one I realized I drilled out the wrong spot welds. So right here, if you look, you have the spot weld right there, and right there. There's 3 spot welds on each one. I drilled out the ones on the inside, so you can see right there. I drilled those out, but they came off, so that's good. This side I did it the right way, and I drilled out those spot welds right there. So it came off as one whole piece. That's the bar over here. It's actually pretty heavy. Don't drop it like I just did. So you can see on this side that you have the bar right there. That side doesn't, because it didn't come off with it. But either way, it's off now. So now I have all this room up front. I should be able to unbolt the K member and the transmission brace, lower this down, and it should pretty easily just pull forward. And I should have enough room to pull it out and make it clear from the body. After that, it should be ready to finish stripping everything else out of the car, and it'll be ready to start doing the swap. Alright guys, so I got my roommate right here, Isaiah. He's gonna help me pull this thing out safely, hopefully. 3 transmission jacks on it. Probably not intended for this use, but we're gonna do this as safely as possible. Back off each nut little by little and see if it holds, and then go from there and hopefully be able to pull this out today. Alright, let's get it.
Sick.
Got it disconnected, took the bolts off in the back and the nuts on the K member. Engine is pretty much ready to come out. Only thing we got left is these AC lines going into the cabin. Once we disconnect those, we should be able to lower it all the way down and be able to completely pull it out. Hopefully we can get these things off. Alright, so the engine's pretty much completely taken out, transmission all ready to pull. Fortunately, don't have enough room to clear it from the bottom, so we're gonna have to. Ooh, we got some coolant leaking, nice. We're gonna have to jack this up on each side evenly, and as soon as it has enough room to clear, we can pull it out, put it back down. Alright, engine and transmission's out. So much room, all the room. Perfect. How much closer to getting this Coyote swapped on. It was pretty straightforward taking it out until the transmission jacks decided to slip out from underneath it. Fortunately, I had the straps on it, so you can kind of see here. So the shape of the K member slightly rounded all the way across. So the transmission jack completely slipped to there and then to the back. So the jack coming from right here slipped all the way back there, and this being a lot more front heavy started leaning forward. You can kind of, actually you can still see over there that wheel in the back holding the transmissions off the ground. So we wheeled it over here, set it down, took a jacked it up from right here where the K member bolts up to the frame, jacked it up from there, took the transmission jacks out, took some wood blocks, laid them on there. Fortunately, there's nowhere else really sturdy to put it on there, so this kind of had to do. And then just lowered it down, and it's trying to roll forward right now. So we have this jack up front. This jack isn't actually holding anything. It's not really holding onto this, but it's holding the engine back so it doesn't roll forward. Probably gonna run to the store and find a better way to hold this up. Probably get more jacks and put the jacks on the K member and hold it up like that. But for now, the engine transmission's out. It's out of the way. Unfortunately, now it's in the way of pulling everything off of this one. Maybe I might be able to pull it out and kind of just roll it down this way and then guide it into here. Definitely gonna take the steering rack out. That way I have a little bit more room to push it that way. And then sometime soon, probably getting an engine stand and kind of like taking a little bit more off of this. For the time being, this is fine. I kind of want to keep it like this so that I can put it on a pallet, hook up all the other electronics, and try to start it up like this. And either try to sell it all as one whole piece once I get a chance to tear it apart, see if there's anything else broken in it. But if it's all good, probably sell it as a pallet and mail it off to someone who wants it, or take the kit off and then sell the supercharger kit separately and then sell the engine and transmission as a part, because I still have the stock parts, so I can always do that, sell them separately. And once I get a chance to tear this one apart, I'll see where I want to go with that. For now, remove all the wiring now. I have the tubes off for the AC, so now I can take the AC box from inside out, take all the wiring out, take the carpet out, and everything should be ready to go. This car should be completely stripped out other than the headlights, which, I mean, they're fine. They're not really going to be in the way. And the rear axle's still in there for now, just until once I get everything else in, that's going to be a little bit easier to drop in there. So now I'm going to start tearing apart all this wiring, get all this wiring out, and then go from there. Alright guys, so I got most of the wiring starting to get taken out. The wiring for all the lights right here, that's still hooked up on the inside. It was a while back ago when I put the fog lights on this. I had to wire them in, so those are going straight back there to the little switch, so that way the fog lights can work. So that's the only thing. I might have to cut that one off so that way I can pull that separately. And I just took off the hoses and the connections for the heater box, and I took that out on the inside. Got the body harness over here. I'm starting to take that out. I gotta disconnect everything from the inside and pull that out. Got the heater box back here. It's actually pretty simple. Once you disconnect that, there's two little nuts on here that you take off, and then there's another one right there on the inside. You have to unscrew that nut, and then it really easily comes out. There's coolant in here, so don't tilt it forward or else you're gonna spill coolant inside your car like I did, like an idiot. So make sure you tilt it back so that way you don't spill coolant all on the inside when you're taking this out, and you should be good to go. Alright guys, real quick, as I was taking all the wiring off on the inside, I came across this. So this feeds into the wiring to the door, and it's behind this little panel, and the only way to get to it is in there. It's a little plug. Can't see it. Get a better angle. There you go. There's a plug, and if you look right there, that top piece right there where you can see right now, that clip is what's holding in the two plugs together to the body. So if you want to unplug this, you can try and do it from inside, but it's kind of hard to reach in there. What you can do is get a little flathead screwdriver, flip that clip up, pull it out, and then you're gonna have to toggle at the wiring. So I already have the panel taken apart over here, so I can feed the wiring up, so I can pull the two connectors out together, and then just pull it out as one, and then you can disconnect it from there. Or what you can do, so this plugs in there like that. This clips in, holds it tight. So what you have to do is to flip this up, you have to press these two on the side and try to, just like that, flip it up. Once that's clear, you can easily wiggle this out. One-handed, just like that, and then you can take it out. I don't know if it would be possible. I don't know how much clearance is in there to do it. You can definitely pull the whole thing out and then unplug it, or you can try unplugging it by itself on the inside. So if you're trying to do this, what I'm doing with the swap, or if you're just trying to take off the door and you want to be able to unplug it from the inside, you can do that. Or you could probably open the door all the way, unbolt it, and then pull it from there and then unplug it. Either way should work, and that way you can take this off, unplug the wiring from the main harness. Because this is probably gonna have to come out some other way, and I'm gonna figure out how to do that later on. But for now, when I get all this wiring out of the car, so I can get a little bit closer to stripping it completely down. Alright guys, real quick, if you guys are doing this type of swap on your Mustang, first gen S197, or if you're just taking apart the Mustang and you're pulling stuff out of it, and you're going to pull the engine harness out of it, the body harness, this bottom one right here, this one goes to your windshield wiper motor, which is in there. I was hoping I didn't have to take off the windshield wiper blades, which unfortunately I had to do, so I can lift this up so I can get in there, so I can reach the connector, so I can unplug it, so I can pull the whole body harness out. So if you're doing this, you're going to have to remove the windshield wipers. It's not that difficult. You just need, I used a tie rod end puller, kind of like slid it on there, tying it down until it popped off, and took the windshield wipers off, popped this cover up, reached in there. It's kind of really far inside. I already put the cover back on and get a chance to show you guys, but I'll show you guys later. You're gonna have to take this cover off so you can reach in there, unplug it, and then pull the wire out of there so you can pull the whole harness out. Other than that, I mean, putting the windshield wipers back on isn't too difficult. You just have to make sure you line them up properly. You can kind of see my car's kind of dirty, so it's already marked where they were, so it shouldn't be too difficult. It was just something I didn't want to have to do, but you're going to have to. Alright guys, so the engine harness, the body harness, and all the other harnesses are completely taken out. The brake booster is taken out. The little cylinder, whatever the thing for the AC is out. The heater box is out in there. I took out the carpet, pulled all the wiring, so all of it's pretty much taken out. The only thing that's left is all the fuel lines and the brake lines that go all the way back. Once all that's out, I'll be ready to start swapping stuff from that into mine. So for now, for today, it's getting pretty late. I've cleaned up a little bit. Engine's over here. It's quite a bit of a mess. There's a lot more stuff now. I still have a lot of room, but there's stuff everywhere. So I'm kind of trying to consolidate stuff so that way I can make a little bit more room. Try to move this a little bit more to the left so that way I have enough room to pull the engine to bring it over here. But other than that, made a lot of progress today, and I'll start doing some more work tomorrow so that way I can get it prepped and ready to go. It starts putting parts from that in this one. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Hey guys, alright, so it's the next day. Definitely cleaned up a lot after yesterday. Organized a lot of stuff in the garage so that way I have a lot more room to work with. But the engine bay is pretty much completely empty now. Took out the little AC cylinder, whatever that thing is in the corner that was over there, and the master brake cylinder. So everything's pretty much taken out of the engine bay. The only thing that's left is the lines for the brake lines that are going back and the fuel lines. The fuel tank will come out right after that. All of the wiring, the whole wiring harness is completely taken out. And the next step, once I get the fuel lines and the brake lines out, is just pretty much completely clean the whole inside. All of the body is going to get completely cleaned. That's just mainly so I can check to make sure if there's any places where there's some dings. Like right here on mine specifically, I have a lot of scrapes in the paint because when I first installed the supercharger kit, the housing, like the airbox housing, doesn't exactly fit the most, I guess, OEM like you can say. It kind of has some adjustments to it, and if you don't line it up just right, the metal box, which this metal frame, the bottom portion, oh, you can't really see that bottom portion right there at the edge of the box, if it's not perfectly lined up, it'll basically just rub up against your wheel well right here, which, so if you look closely, I have a whole bunch of paint chipped off of the wheel well. That's just from the box basically hitting right there where it's set. What I had to do is I basically just got really thick piece of like plastic wiring, took the wires out, cut a slit in the sleeve that I had, and then just used that to kind of like insulate it between that metal box and the frame. But it already like scratched it up and taken off a lot of paint. What I want to do is clean this all up, get paint back on it, so that way prevent any rust forming from there in the future, along with anywhere else where I kind of chipped off some of the paint. Like right here, I took a lot off trying to get that front crash bar, so I will want to get that paint back on just so that's not something that becomes an issue in the future that could potentially rust. Same thing with just under the chassis. If I notice anywhere that it's like missing any paint that might start to rust in the future, I'm gonna paint over it so that way I don't have to worry about that later on. Aside from that, I've been doing a little bit more work on this, trying to get it ready so I can swap stuff into here. One of the biggest things I've been doing is trying to get all the electronics to work. So the big thing being this a 2011, a lot of the lighting will transfer over flawlessly. The headlights, the side markers, all of that, even the fog lights will fit perfectly fine. All of that will work. The one thing that doesn't work is taillights, because in 2011, or even like in the 2010, they swapped over to the LED style, and doesn't exactly translate over very easily. Most people change from halogen to LED. They don't usually do it the other way around. So trying to change from LED to halogen is a bit tricky. I've been looking at the wiring diagrams, trying to figure it out to make it work. I actually have someone on Instagram who is going through the same process right now. We're all trying to figure out how to make this work. If we figure it out, We'll definitely let you guys know, so that way if anyone else is trying to do this process to their first gen S197, they want to do a Coyote swap, if they can get the full donor and swap everything out, it could be a seamless swap. They don't have to buy extra parts or go out of their way to get extra things that they'll need to. I want to make this as simple and easy as possible and make it cost effective. You already bought the donor car, you don't want to spend more money to make stuff work. So if I can find a way to wire it together without having to spend more money and use the OEM taillights from this 06, the first gen S197s, I'll definitely let you guys know, so that way if anyone else is doing this, you guys can do that and you guys don't have to worry about trying to make something else work. One of the things I was trying to do is retrofit the LEDs from this Mustang, the donor, into this body. The only issue with that, if I come back here, is back here. So you can make them fit. You could probably make an adapter. The problem is right here, this portion right here is where the inner bulb sits. And if I grab it right here real quick, I have the extra lights. So this is the inner bulb of the 11s, and unlike the other two that sit flat and the connector goes basically just parallel down with the body lines, the inner bulb is shaped like this, so it's a lot thicker and the connector sticks straight out. So if you were to want to try to retrofit it into the housing of the older body style, it would basically hit right up against this. And that's not even just the wiring connector itself, like the bulb body goes up against the body of the chassis. So if you were trying to make it work, you would basically have to cut a hole there, and I'm sure most people don't want to cut up their body if they don't have to. It all depends on what I end up feeling like doing. If that's the better option, if I can get the taillights to work, I'll probably do that. And I might end up just getting like a grommet, kind of like the ones they use for the body harness. Get one of those so I can at least cover up that hole around the bulb, so that way there's no potential for getting water into the chassis or anything like that, so that way you don't run into electrical issues. Alright, with that, I'm gonna get underneath the car, start undoing everything else I need to take out the fuel lines, the fuel tank, and all the brake lines going back, so that way it's pretty much ready to start putting parts in from the donor. From where that strap is for the gas tank is a real pain, so definitely recommend getting a breaker bar, or if you have a drill you can use that to take those bolts out. But once you've disconnected, you have the evap hose over there and you have the fuel filler neck hose over there for your gas cap. All of that will be taken off and your bolts are loose, these straps are loose, and it'll feel like the gas tank is still connected. That's just because it's pretty well tucked in there. The only bolts that are actually holding down the gas tank are the straps in that bolt. So once you disconnect all the hoses and the lines from it, and it's basically just in there from being like tightly tucked in there, what you want to do is what I did. You're supposed to tug on it, but I wouldn't really recommend it, especially if it's just you. That'd be a really bad idea. What I did is I took a breaker bar. You can kind of see right there, I made a little mark using it. So I took a breaker bar, put it right there, and then supported it on the frame of the body, kind of just pried up. So I kind of used prying force to pull the tank down, and I have the transmission transmission jacks right here to kind of hold them up, and once it started coming down, it actually sat on the transmission jack. I did it to the other side, and I'm slowly lowering them down. You can see the tank actually is coming down. So earlier I was doing it, would lower the jack, and the tank wasn't coming down. I wasn't sure what was going on, if I missed a bolt or anything. No, there's only 2 bolts holding it up, and that's just the straps. But the tank is so well tucked in there that it won't come out unless you tug it. So if you need to replace your tank, or you're taking the tank out for any reason, then, or if you even need to just lower it down so you can get to that bracket that's above it, so you can swap out your bracket for the differential, and you want to lower down the tank, then that's all you gotta do, and then you'll be able to get to it. Got the fuel tank out. It's a little harder than I was expecting it to be, but got it out, pulled it out from front. Now all that's left is really the rear axle and the exhaust pipes that are still hanging there because I couldn't really pull them out. And after that, it's really not really much left. What I'm gonna do right now is, well, I have most of the stuff already taken out, so I'm gonna start cleaning up the whole car. And what I'm gonna be using for that is this spray-on car wash. It's the wireless car wash. It's by Griot's Garage. Never heard of the brand, but this is what I was at the store. Just figured I'd give it a shot, see how it works. I'll probably do that until the end of the day before the sun goes down. If there's still enough sunlight, you can actually notice how clean it looks. I'll show you guys how that looks. If not, I'll show you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, the end up getting pretty late, so I gotta wrap this up right now. The stuff works pretty well actually. It just takes a little bit because there's so much dirt that built up. Go over it a few times, then do it with a clean rag. It's slightly damp. Overall, it's not too bad. Just gotta keep going over it once it's completely clean. Other than that, got a lot of work done today. Coming in the next few days, finish cleaning it up and start tearing the donor apart, start matching up what they need to match up to make stuff fit, and go from there. Other than that, thank you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.